All right, welcome everyone. My name's Midget, and next to me I have Paladin. Today I'm going to be running Kingdom Hearts 1. I'm going to be playing on beginner mode and running any percent, so just trying to beat the game as fast as possible.
Audio is really loud.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that echo. I want to thank you guys for being patient. The PS4 had to update because I run digital, because I played the Japanese version. It wouldn't let me access the game unless I was updated. So thank you guys. Alright, I think the guys are ready on time. So I'm going to count down real quick. 3, 2, 1, go.
Woo! Let's get it going.
So the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to watch a 3-minute cutscene. I hope you guys like this song. I do. It's an amazing song.
Yeah, it's a great song, but if you've heard it like 1,000 times, you might be sick of it.
This is the Japanese version, though. But yeah, this is one of 2 cutscenes in the game that is unskippable. But it's cool because we get to hear the song.
よくわからないんだ。この世界が本当に本物なのか。そんなの考えたこともなかった。
I think I'm just going to let it play and jam out.
Let's just watch the movie.
If I knew the words, I'd be singing it, but I don't.
Does anyone know the Japanese lyrics? Disappointed.
Alright, so we're getting into the game here now. So the first thing I have to do in the game is go through the Dive to the Heart tutorial. So we pick our dream weapon, we learn how to fight Heartless. It's important what dream weapon we pick here, because that determines not only our skill tree, but it determines our stats. So I picked the staff here because it gives us 1 extra MP for the entirety of the game. Also, it gives us air combo plus pretty early on. So we drop the shield because it's beginner mode. What beginner mode does is it gives you extra items at the start of the game. It gives you 8 strength ups, 8 defense ups. So we don't really need defense until much later on. Much later on, though, we basically take the same amount of damage as standard mode, so it doesn't matter in the late game.
Have we got time for a quick update? Donation, rather. So I've got a $7 donation from Balthazar White, who just says, nice update. Thank you.
Man, I want to thank you guys as well for all the generous donations. It's for such a good cause, and as well I have a donation incentive for this run. So later on in the game, when we are talking to Kyrie, getting the Oathkeeper, there's a little cutscene glitch that we can do, and it's hilarious. So if you guys want to see that, make sure to get those donations in. So this part right here, I've got to talk to the 3 Final Fantasy characters, and what this does is it determines how quickly I get XP. So the route I've chosen is that in the first 30 levels, I get XP and level up quicker, and then in the later 30 levels, I get it slower. That's because we basically just go through skipping enemies, just killing bosses. We don't end the game on a very high level at all. These Heartless are always really annoying. They can pretty much do whatever they want, and the fact that they can just go underground whenever they want is not helpful for a speed run.
Wow, that was amazing.
That was pretty good. So right here, I'm going to be applying those items that I mentioned, because this is the first time we get to open the menu.
You're not menuing items? So Midget is furiously mashing the circle button right now to get this as fast as he can. And we don't use the AP ups because we need them to sell for later.
Alright, so first boss of the game, Darkside. Pretty simple boss, just hit his hand. Don't get parried by shadows,
Nice.
ideally.
So Ryan threw his potion there just so it doesn't mess up his menus later.
So now we're on Destiny Islands, so still, I guess, kind of more like a tutorial world. Kind of stressful in a speedrun though, because like getting this optimally is it's not easy. Things like that happen. So if you guys don't know the story, there's a few kids, Sora that I'm playing as, and his friends Riku and Kari. They want to build a raft to sail the ocean and visit different worlds. So we're just collecting parts for that that raft that they're building. So all those text boxes you see, I have to mash through them to make them scroll faster. It's actually the reason I'm playing the Japanese version. So since the English version uses more characters to say the same words, it takes longer to scroll. Over the course of the run, that actually loses 50 seconds to Japanese.
Tried to go for task coconut there.
Yeah, so we have to collect 2 coconuts, and I'll try to get an early one there. So right here we have to race Riku, and I don't know about you guys, but as a kid, I was so bad. I could never beat him. He's not easy. Hopefully we can just get the quick strat here. I also never knew how the zip line worked as a kid.
So to get this race pretty fast, we actually want Riku to be somewhat close to us so that the race finishes at a faster time. Because if he's too far behind, the race won't end immediately when you get to the finish line.
Nice, we got it.
Easy.
So yeah, what Paladin was saying, the fade out at the end of the race only happens when Riku gets a certain distance behind you. So we don't want to actually slow him down at all. Alright, it's actually really important to the speedrun that we beat him, because the shiny stone he gives us, we need to actually sell later so we can get additional items to help us go faster. Alright, let's hope for quick coconuts.
Nice.
That was pretty quick. Those coconuts can take as long as they want. They're completely random. So getting them in the first couple of combos is pretty good. Last item here, the water. I don't know how they plan on surviving the ocean on 2 coconuts and like 3 mushrooms.
Look, sometimes you gotta just divide your rations very well, and then you'll survive.
Mate, I'm too much of a picky eater. I wouldn't survive.
Yeah, I would demolish those mushrooms. No one would have any.
Alright, so we just got some story happening here. We don't really care about it. I think the king's gone. There's a ship. Alright, so the Heartless have invaded the world. We pretty much ignore these guys because they don't really give us enough XP to be worth killing. Also, the wooden sword that we have doesn't actually affect them at all. So now we get the real weapon of the game, the Keyblade. Paolo, do you have a Keyblade?
Unfortunately not.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I have a Keyblade.
I was not chosen by the Keyblade.
I remember as a kid just like going with it, like, oh yeah, some dude, he's just fighting these shadowy things, he's just got a key. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Now I'm looking back and thinking, what? Alright. So the first few bosses are pretty much just that, air combos, just hit them. We get some more variety into the strategies later as we get more tools, like different magics and things. The reason we want to do air combos as well is because they have less lag time at the end, so we actually get to deal damage way faster. So right here, you guys might remember if you played this game as a kid, you have to go all around Traverse Town, following Donald and Goofy, finding all these cutscenes.
Nice.
But really, all we have to do is fight 5 shadows and go into the accessory shop, and we'll trigger the Leon cutscene.
I was so confused trying to get through this segment as a kid.
Yeah. It saves a lot of time just being able to just kill the 5 shadows and move forward. There we go. There's a couple of different patterns that he can do there, so you have to sort of adapt. That's one of the things I find interesting about this game as a speed game. It's not glitch heavy at all. It's really about being skillful with the game. And because not everything's just straight up set in stone, there are some random elements. You really have to just get good at adapting and just knowing all the different things that the enemies can do. So I'm gonna kill a couple of extra enemies here because I want a level up in before the next boss fight. Gives me a strength increase.
Wait, you go for 3 soldiers? You go for 3 soldiers?
Yeah, instead of hitting Darkside one's head for extra tech points, I kill 3 soldiers. Because the target switching, while it's a bit hard, it's very fast.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to do the same sort of strategy here for these guys. Just try and target switch. Okay, Donald.
All right, Donald.
The duck helped. This is guard armor. We have to destroy all his limbs before we can actually kill him. Right now I'm just targeting the body because it's sort of spreading the damage around all the parts. That was such a quick fight.
That was so good.
That was nuts. Alright, he's invincible just here.
Nice.
Very quick fight. That was really good.
Yeah.
So now we have the party assembled. We've got Donald, Goofy, Sora. These guys are just going to give them some things. We get some money off Leon, an elixir. They give us the fire magic, and we get the dodge roll ability. So we're going to do a quick menu here to equip a few things. What I really want to hope is that Goofy didn't throw his ether that he comes with, because I want to take it. He didn't throw it. Yeah, so right there, I equipped dodge roll, I took Goofy's ether, and I put on the Brave Warrior item, which gives me additional strength. Because we always want to try max out on strength. So I'm going to change my gummy here. It's going to be a little unconventional. We like to call it the tissue box. Don't worry, the engine's not even attached, but it still works.
As long as it's in the cube, it's attached.
There you go. Look at that. Beautiful. Anyone need a tissue? We got one. We got a box.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yes, we do.
Cool. We have a $44.40 donation from Knox Bishop. He says, PAX Oz 2019 is a great way to bring support to this. All the best. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so to explain why I made a tissue box, all the orange and yellow pieces, the armor pieces that you see on the default gummy, they actually slow it down. So the more armor you have, the slower you go, so we just ditch it all. It means my health is really low, and right now I don't have a gun on, so I need to be kind of careful in these first few gummy missions. But it just means we don't have to sit through as much of these things.
This is the most exciting part of KH1 runs.
Oh, it's so exciting. I'm excited.
I'm pretty excited.
I just need to make sure I'm not too silly and die in one of these, because like, if you do die in a gummy mission, it's a big time loss. Luckily, because we're playing on beginner, you take less damage in gummy missions than on like standard or proud mode. So dying is pretty hard, unless you're just not paying attention. So now we're in Wonderland. We've got a couple of boss fights in this. I'm just gonna try and run through the world as quick as possible. Being not a glitch-heavy speedrun, the focus of a lot of these worlds is just doing as little as possible while still meeting the minimum requirements to finish the level. So right now, they normally expect you to go pick up 5 pieces of evidence to show that the Heartless has attacked the Queen of Hearts. We're just going to get 1. You only have to pick up 1. So we're just going to go for the quickest one, which is just to our left. We just have to kill those few Heartless because we can only actually interact with these items when we have a blue menu, which means no enemies around. That's a big difference between this and other Kingdom Hearts games. Other Kingdom Hearts games, you don't necessarily need that blue menu. Okay, I think I know which one dropped first. I think it's the middle left. We want to try and get the Heartless.
Wait, you go for the Heartless?
Yeah. So I want Donald and Goofy to distract the cards in this fight while I hit the tower. Doesn't always work, but you just do what you can. So a problem with this tower is that once you break all the gears, you can't just lock onto it. For some reason, the lock-on doesn't appear immediately, and this is being really frustrating right now. There it is. Okay. So that's probably the worst I've ever seen it.
Yeah, that was quite interesting.
So yeah, like I said, ideally I want Donald and Goofy to take the attention of those cards away from me so I can just hit the tower without the auto lock-on screwing me up. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. It's pretty random. So I'm using the dodge roll ability to move pretty much whenever I move because it's just way faster than running.
We have a $29 donation from Silver Moon X with no comment. Thank you very much.
You don't dodge roll?
Sorry?
You don't dodge roll to the second candle?
So I want to avoid stepping on the floor at all in this room because enemies immediately spawn if I do. So the movement in that room has to be quite particular. Now, if you played this game as a kid, you probably remember the frustration of trying to get up onto this silly chair to hit this silly boss. Luckily, we don't need the chair, because I am not coordinated enough to get up on that chair consistently.
Nice.
There we go. It's actually really difficult to time your hit because you have to time it at like the utmost height of your jump to actually land those hits without first using the chair or the table to get extra height. Makes me happy though, because like I said, I can't get on that chair. I'm so bad at it. Alright, so on to our next world. We've got Tarzan, which is a bit of a, no, I wouldn't say favorite, not in the speedrun anyway. I love the movie, but the speedrun's rough. It has some enemies that just really like to just jump around, be really hard to hit, but it's got some cool strategies in it as well.
Deep Jungle's a pretty cool world.
It's kind of a shame it never came back in any of the other Kingdom Hearts games. So we've started getting a couple of magic abilities as well now. We have Fire, we have Blizzard. So now that we're starting to accumulate those extra tools, you'll start to see a little bit more variety in the strats. The start of this game, as the speedrun goes, is a bit of a slow grind, but later on you get to see some really cool stuff. Yay! I don't know what they're cheering about, but man, PAX is a good time. Alright, here we go. So we're dumped straight into a fight as soon as we get into this world. It's Sabor. Sabor can be really annoying because she likes to just jump around a lot, be really hard to hit. It's also, she's really close to the ground, so doing air combos on her is really hard. And like I said earlier, we want to do as many air combos as possible because it's just way faster. Alright. We'll see her again. So a lot of this world, in terms of going fast, comes down to movement. Moving in particular ways, using things like map warping, really important to actually going fast in this world. So I step on that save there so that I can map warp to it later. You can just quit out of this mini game, by the way, and it transports you to the end. I never liked that mini game as a kid.
I thought it was the best minigame.
So just gotta collect these slides. Alright. We don't really care about our party composition at the moment because they don't really have too many abilities, not too much utility. We basically just want Donald in there to cast magic, and then Tarzan, Goofy, we don't really mind. So I'm gonna save warp here. It's just because Deep Jungle has such a massive map, comparable to like the other maps in the game, that this just saves a bunch of time and just makes it really easy to navigate the world to get to the next cutscene, the bit where we want to get to.
The save warping is a lot faster because of PS4 load times.
Yeah, in previous versions, like the PS3 or the PS2, that would not be the optimal strat. So same thing, we're gonna get in this. I'm just gonna quit out. Alright, so now we have Power Wilds. It's just like 5 fights of monkeys. They're really annoying.
Every KH1's favorite fight. That was pretty good.
That was good. So we want to use the Blizzard magic because it sort of does an AoE, I guess you can say. Sort of. It just spreads out. So it hits multiple, and they die in 2 shots. And this is why I wanted Goofy's Ether from earlier. Because just trying to normally combo these, which you'll probably see, is just really annoying.
Nice.
Alright. I wanted to try and save a bit of MP for the next room, because these ones, they don't typically group up a lot, so Blizzard's not really too effective. But in this next room, they really group up. I need to get rid of that potion as well. That was actually really good.
I thought one of them was going to get away from me.
Alright, Sabor 2. So this time Sabor takes way more hits to kill. She can jump into the bamboo, which just wastes time. We really want to try and avoid that. You really have to adapt to what she does. Alright. Okay, stun her. Oh, what? Okay. I've never had a jump on the middle before, so I was like, oh, what? What's she doing? We're just going to use another mini game for movement. This just transports us to the other side of the vines. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm really bad at jumping across those vines. I fall every time. So we just have to do 5 combos on this fruit here, and that ends this
We need
fight.
12 hits.
There we go.
You really gotta wonder, what does that black fruit actually do?
No idea. No clue. Alright. So we got the boss of this world, Clayton. Or not Clayton. That's a joke. So first phase here, just got to do 6 hits. Now I'm going to be trying to do a trick here to skip an animation on this lizard. Alright, so what that just did is skip an animation where his lizard just is invincible, takes really long to just be able to be hit again. What are you doing? Alright. There we go. So we don't actually have to kill the lizard, we just have to get him knocked off. Once he's knocked off, it's really easy, but yeah, the lizard can just jump around. Like I said, if you don't get that animation cancel, it just takes about 10 seconds of just being invincible. You can't do anything to it. And now we have bad platforming. This cavern is notoriously bad, so I hope I get it pretty smooth.
Nice.
Hey!
That jump is really difficult.
Really hard. If you guys don't know why that cavern's bad, the camera angles in it are horrible. Absolutely horrible. If you fall down, the camera just gets worse. It's all round a bad time. Alright, so we've got the next about 10 minutes of the run are just going back to Traverse Town, getting some items, progressing some story. It's a bit unfortunate that this part's in the run, because it does sort of break up the speed of the things, but it's in there, we have to do it. Once we get past this though, and get into Aladdin, the game really picks up pace, the fights get a lot more interesting. I might actually take this time to ask how we are doing on the donation incentive for the cutscene glitch.
So at the moment we don't have any more towards the cutscene glitch incentive. We're still $35 off, but if anyone wants to get some last second donations in, feel free, it's all going to a good cause. So let's see if we can meet that, guys.
If you guys want to see that, it's really cool. Just a few extra donations, we can get that. Sora just does some crazy stuff while talking to Kairi. Trust me, you want to see it. It's not until about 2 hours into the run, so still plenty of time. It just really makes a heartwarming cutscene ridiculous. there is actually a spot you can sit on this gummy mission where you will not take any damage, or I think you maybe only take one hit, but you can't die throughout the whole route. I don't know where it is though, so I'm not going to risk looking for it in a marathon.
I think it's top right of the screen.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
I'm still not going to risk it,
left.
because I'm notorious for dying in gummy missions.
Yeah, because it changes depending on the direction that you're going. So if you're heading to
so it's up here
Wonderland,
if you're going
it's
the
up
other way.
left. But if you're heading back to Travis Town, it's up right.
Maybe you should be running this game. Hey, next year race, yeah?
Next year? Okay.
Alright, so we'll do some running around Travis Town. We use some more save walks here. Just got to get some story out of the way and collect some items. Luckily, one of those items that we get are gummy items to make our gummy ship way faster. So we won't have to sit through as much of those, thank goodness. Now, I've got to do this Trinity here under a blue menu. I'm going to try and make it so these enemies despawn. Which they didn't. Funnily enough, that grate that we just broke, on the English version of the game, you can actually go up to that. If it's the first Trinity you ever come up to, it does a little cutscene where Sora, John, and Goofy are like, oh, what's this? And for a moment there, Sora can walk through walls. So if you go and like examine the Trinity as the first one, you can just walk through that grate. It doesn't happen on the Japanese version because Sora actually stands in a different position, not as close to the grate, but still pretty funny. It actually shortens the gap between English and Japanese to about 20-25 seconds faster for Japanese. So because text just makes so much of a difference, we still got to run on Japanese. Or we don't have to. Like, lots of people have gotten some really amazing times on the English version. 25 seconds is not a whole lot if you consider it's a 2.5-hour run. So if you guys are interested in like picking up the game and you just have an English copy, don't be discouraged by the way I'm doing this in Japanese. I just like Japanese things. Alright, not trolled by the rocks. So now you might be thinking, Merlin's house, Winnie the Pooh, right? Boring world. We don't have to do it, thankfully. There are a couple words we get to skip in any percent, because the game only requires you to do certain ones. The worlds we get to skip are Winnie the Pooh, Hercules, and The Little Mermaid. So if you're hoping to see those, I'm so sorry. You can technically skip Halloween Town instead of Atlantica, but Halloween Town gives us certain magics that we want to go faster. Plus, that's like my favorite Disney movie, so... So I mentioned earlier, like the shiny stone we got from the Riku race, we're going to need to sell it. We're going to be doing that selling here. We need 1,250 money so that we can buy those gummy items to speed up our ship. So I'm going to be selling a few things. I need to make sure I sell the right items because I have accidentally before sold my strength equipment, which means I do very little damage. So we need to not do that.
All right, we didn't mess up the selling.
Very difficult. So we'll save war back to Merlin's. We're gonna get our first summon of the game, which is Simba. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really use summons as a kid, but you're gonna see Simba do some crazy things later on in the game. Not any of the other summons though, they're bad. Not in this category anyway. Oh wait, Dumbo's pretty cool. We do some cool things with Dumbo. Alright, so the menu I did there, I put on the Jungle King Keyblade. It's got a bit more strength, a bit more reach. I equipped the White Fang, which is a strength item, and I put the EXP necklace, I think it's a necklace, onto Goofy. Because the cool thing about that item is you get the bonus EXP effect on all party members, no matter who it's equipped to. So we just want strength on us, XP on everyone.
Goran?
Ow.
Wow. I don't think I've ever gotten hit there.
I get hit by there all the time. It's so annoying. Alright, so that ends that section. So we're going to quickly edit our gummy, and then we can move on to more fun worlds. We have a gun, yay. Wait, I need another item. Oh no, I'm lost in the menu. Okay. Okay, where am I, Paladin? What am I doing? There we go, okay. Alright, we just had a moment. There we go. Alright, so I'm gonna warp to Wonderland because despite what the world map says, the portal is actually way closer to Wonderland in the gummy route. So it saves about, I think, 4 or 5 seconds to warp here first and leave from Wonderland. So I do have the gun on because gummy missions start to get a bit more dangerous now. We're not in too much danger of dying unless I just don't pay attention. But it's nice to just have it because we don't do gummy edits that often. Like this is the sheet we'll be keeping for the next like 4 worlds. Yeah, 4 worlds. All right, so this world's pretty notorious. Around the Kingdom Hearts 1 community, this has some really difficult bosses. It has a lot of bosses, and just some really rough RNG. We'll see how we go. So right here, normally some enemies come down. We need to kill them so we can get blue menu and unseal that keyhole. We're just going to skip that. We don't need to do that. Just going to go crash in Aladdin's house. I'm going to step on this save point because it's another save warp. The PS4 version massively reducing load times made them way more viable as strats for moving around the world. Alright, so we're getting to the point in the game where party does matter. I'm going to be switching my party in a minute here, not there, to take Donald out, because as we get more magic abilities, Donald's ability to misuse them rapidly increases.
Also, Aladdin's just an extremely good party member. Like, he does ridiculous damage.
Hey Paladin, do you want to explain what can sometimes happen in this room to make us lose time?
So there's two spawns that can happen in this room, and one of them is the black fungus. And the black fungus is a heartless that has extremely high defense, that it's basically going to take you way longer. And if that happens, all we have to do is just come out of the room and come back in, and hopefully we don't get it the second time.
I almost forgot about that potion.
Sneaky potion from Deep Jungle.
Oh. Those bandits are like ninjas, dude. I nearly got sniped. Oh, that's not a cutscene. Alright, so this is Pod Centipede. He can take damage from both his front end and rear end, for lack of more PG words. We want to try and avoid the back end because it has a bigger hitbox to actually hit Sora. This is just a rough fight. We want to try and keep him in this room though. Okay. So whatever room you end the fight in, that's where it spawns you. So I want to actually jump into the room closest to the desert so that I spawn here. I don't have to go through another room transition. I don't have to travel as far. Saves a bit of time. Alright. So next boss of this world, the Tiger Head, the Cave of Wonders. I think it's actually a lion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Really hard to get on his head, but I've had to practice that a lot.
I know this is Lacey's favorite fight.
So I don't want to hit him too much up there because while his head's shaking around, he can throw you off. Also, he can do a different pattern where he just keeps staying up there, throwing you off. So I want to make sure he digs his face into the ground there by not over damaging him.
now you can just swim up a little mini waterfall. But,
Like
you
a
know,
salmon.
Yeah, like a salmon.
Okay, try
Try fire.
something.
Nice.
Okay, nice. If you mash that fire out really quickly, you can hit that pillar before Sora even hits the ground. It's a lot of little things in this game that just make it faster, like a lot of small movement techniques or things like that with the quick fire can really make a difference to your final time. Alright, this next fight's really hard. I'll let Paladin try to explain it.
So, Jafar is a very annoying fight because if you hit him, depending on how many hits he takes, he'll either do one of two things. If you hit him with a magic spell, he'll put up a barrier, which is what Midget does. So here he'll try to teleport away. Unfortunately, we didn't get to stun him before he flew out, so we have to wait for him to get down. But the optimal way to do it is you stun him and he stays on the platform. He puts his shield down and then you just keep wailing on him, and you get Aladdin to wail on him as well. And hopefully you can finish the fight before he flies off.
Alright. That's fine. He only flew around once. So yeah, if you guys played this game as a kid, you would know he can just fly around forever. And he's really hard to catch. He only has like a few frames between when he is stunnable and he flies away again. And hitting him in those few frames is really difficult.
So, Genie Jafar, you normally can't really hit with normal hits, but Blizzard reaches him, so it's easy to get free damage off him while you wait for Iago to bring his lamp over and then wail on him.
That's rough. It's alright, he should appear here. Couple blizzards. There we go. Alright. Thank you. Getting the proper damage off on him to kill Iago or Jafar before Iago fully flies off that middle platform, it's really difficult. You have to be really quick. Alright, let's try and escape the Cave of Wonders.
Okay. Just make sure you don't die. Okay.
This carpet is actually really difficult to control. Luckily we're on beginner, so we don't take as much damage.
Yeah. Oh, dude, why'd you die?
Oh, it's faster.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So it saves 8 seconds to actually die there. For some reason, the game progresses you even though you die.
Yeah.
There are a
which
couple
makes no
parts
sense.
in the run where it does do that. This is about the only relevant one in beginner because of how much longer it takes to die on the beginner difficulty. In Proud mode, there are a few extra spaces because you die in like 2 hits. Alright, so the next world is Monstro. A really movement-heavy world. Only got 2 bosses in it, and the bosses are very similar. I'm gonna try some more difficult movement. If I miss it, then I don't save 10 seconds. It's not a big deal, but...
Also, if you saw before, Midget went to the warp hole, and it's faster to select the warp hole than trying to select the next world because you can just avoid it anyway.
it's actually really interesting. In the original version of this game on PS2, Monstro was not guaranteed to show up. You could actually miss him, which is like why they did that, I don't know. But luckily for this one, we can't miss that. We do have the possibility of missing a different world, but we'll get to that one. Luckily, so this is the final mix version, like a director's cut. They updated a lot of fights, enemies, patched a lot of things, like the fact that you could miss Monstro. Unfortunately, this text can't be sped up. So, Monstro is just a big maze, lots of doors, lots of different rooms. So it takes a long time to get through if you don't really know the route. I'm gonna try and go for this extra jump here to skip a couple of rooms.
Nice.
Nice. Okay,
Right,
so that
got
skips
it.
about, what, 2 rooms? Very precise jump. It's easy to either not get in the doorway at the start or to miss the ledge on the other side. But yeah, saves about 10 seconds. So this is Parasite Cage. Now this, it's a pretty simple fight. You just have to combo him. But he has this interesting property where if you hit him in the lower mouth, he actually gets stunned by finishes. So we don't want to hit him in the head. Nice, real quick fight. So ideally you want to keep him stunned the whole fight. Alright, so we just got the high jump ability, so we're going to do a quick menu here. So I switched my Keyblade. The reason I didn't switch it earlier is because we are actually at the maximum strength value we can be for that previous boss. Because the way damage works in this, bosses will only take a maximum amount of damage once you hit like a certain strength number. But it matters for this boss, so that's why we switched. We also equipped high jump and a couple of extra abilities, like scan, so we can actually see health now. So, Parasite Cage 2, same sort of thing. We want to try and hit the lower mouth, keep him stunned. The problem is Goofy can do that, where he just jumps up really high, hits the top head. If they hit the top head, he like falls back stunned. And it's actually bad because we can't hit him with a finisher now, otherwise he'll become really aggressive and
really good
breaks our
Parasite
stun
Cage
chain.
too.
That was really good though. Like even though he got stunned, his health was so low, so we weren't at risk of getting that really aggressive phase. So that was a really quick world actually. It was really good. So we do have to revisit Monstro, because when he spits us out here, he puts us back to Agrabah. So in order to get to Halloween Town, we have to go through Monstro on the gummy map, which is fine anyway, because going through Monstro again gets us the Dumbo summon, which you'll see later on becomes really important for actually skipping some of the Hollow Bastion level.
So if you notice, Midget warped to Monstro. If you fly to Monstro, there's a chance that he won't show up.
Sora just likes to turn around. Alright, on to Halloween Town. So, we could have taken the bottom route and gone to Atlantica, but like I said, going to Monstro gets us Dumbo, which is really important. Also, Atlantica's... It's not necessarily slower, but the magics we get from Halloween Town are just way more important. Alright, so this is my favorite Disney World. Actually, it's really difficult though. The boss fights have some little intricacies to them that make them harder. We'll talk about those as we get there. So first we're going to jump up here. There's a sneaky power up here. So we're just going to grab that.
It's notoriously hard to enter.
The
for some
door.
bizarre reason.
Alright, so I'm coming up to another menu here. I've got to pick my party. I'm actually going to pick Donald over Jack this time. Reason being because Jack has the Thunder Magic where Donald doesn't. We don't want that because there's like a hit-based fight later. Alright, so I use the power-up. I put on Ray of Light to boost my max MP. The reason I did that... Goofy,
get out of the way, please.
Stop. So what was I saying? Magic. The reason we want the more MP is because the way magic scales in this game is that your magic does more damage if you have more max MP. Also, with the magic thing, summons also depend on your max MP. So later on when we use some summon strats, we will sacrifice some of our strength items for MP items. Just because they do just so much ridiculous damage. So the story here is just like we have to collect a few items to finish off the makeshift heart that Dr. Finkelstein is making. So it's a bit of a fetch quest, but the fights at the end make this world really interesting. Okay, that's a little trick right there where you can just barely roll to the end before it goes red menu and select the coffin. Normally there are other enemies in the room. Wait, which was the next one? That one? That one? That one? Twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I was too busy explaining. Yeah, normally there are other enemies that spawn, but jumping on the tombstones means you avoid the spawn box, and you don't have to worry about them. Now, on my way back here, there's another room for black fungus to potentially appear, so I'll be listening out for an audio cue to tell me whether or not that happened. It's another just 10-second time loss if they appear. Not much you can really do about it, it's random. I always jump when I use magic. Oh, I didn't listen to the audio cue, so that was lucky. So we always jump when we use magic. Same theory as air combos. The end lag on using a ground magic is way longer. So jumping between our magics really allows us to push out the damage and save a lot of time. So this building here, you normally have to kill a bunch of Heartless, use a Trinity, and that's how you unlock the building to get up. We're just gonna ignore that. Let me just parkour. Oops. Oops. Okay. The camera kind of messed me up there. I don't know what the camera did. But we'll try that again. We can just get back. Okay, so the thing with this building is normally I have to kill enemies, do a Trinity to get up it. Normally I can just do this. Why did he do that? That doesn't normally happen.
Wow.
Okay, normally I can take the bathtub to get back up, but you have to kill all the enemies to get blue menu. I honestly don't know why he let go of that ledge.
The classic GDQ never happened before.
Oh, it's happened. But see, normally it's the opposite. Sora has like magnetic hands. He really likes to grab things he shouldn't. Alright, third time's the charm.
Here we go.
Here. And there you go. We're at the top.
Yay, we did it.
Even though I failed that twice, that's probably still faster than fighting all the enemies and getting up the place normally. So right here, these kids jump around a lot, so I'm just going to try and spam Blizzard to do as much damage as possible first. They're really low to the ground, so it's really hard to combo them. Oh, you're so close to dead, too. If you have max MP, you can just kill them all with Blizzards. Now, I gotta hit the switch.
Yep.
Don't let me forget to hit the switch.
Yep.
I've had runs where I've forgotten to hit this switch here, and the Oogie Boogie fight doesn't unlock until you hit the switch. Alright, switch back to my strength item. So I was mentioning before, we don't want Jack because he has Thunder. That's because in this next fight, we get 10 hits each time we get up with Oogie, and we don't want party members to do that because they do significantly less damage. So we just want to get me up there hitting the boss, and Jack can do it even if I don't trap him in a different section. He can just stun it from anywhere. Okay, this enemy's being annoying. I think I have Goofy.
Yeah.
That's really bad. Goofy stop. Okay. So there will be an extra cycle on this just because Goofy got some damage in, and he's normally way less damage.
Nice.
Okay. So what I did there is called Dice Reflect. Normally those dice decide a thing that's going to happen in the arena, but if I parry them, it just skips it. So we're going to have to try and do that one more time. And you see how I trapped Goofy and Donald in like the wrong area that time?
Nice.
Alright, we got it again. It doesn't really matter which one I put him in, because he's so low health. Nice. So yeah, normally if those dice land, you could get Heartless, you could get a spinning disc of death, he could heal himself. So it's actually really good that I got those Dice Reflects. Saves a lot of time and just a lot of hassle. And the last little bit of this world is just some more parkour. Oogie's turned himself into a house. We don't like houses, so we're gonna break the house. We're gonna pop his pimples real quick. Oh, Goofy, why?
Goofy, please.
Oh, no! Okay. Nah. Bonk.
So, it's not too far.
After you kill a certain amount of these things, the tower gets way more aggressive. So luckily that didn't happen when I fell down there.
Wow, that was sick.
And we're just going to do a little jump here to skip, going around. And last pimple. And that's this world done. Alright, so we just got the gravity magic there. Wait, did we get gravity or stop?
We get stop.
Stop. Gravity magic's later. We got the stop magic there. Now stop is a really cool magic. The way it works is it freezes enemies in place. They don't take damage while stopped, but they accumulate the damage you deal to them while stopped. And that's gonna make for some really funny fights later. Also from this point, we never want Donald in the party because he can stop things and that's slow. It's really bad when he does. Alright, so I mentioned before you can miss Monstro in the earlier versions of this game. In this version, we can miss Neverland. There's a 30% chance that we miss Neverland, and it costs about 50 seconds because you have to continue on the gummy, finish it to Atlantica, and then come back and try and get Neverland again. So hopefully first try, we'll see what we can do.
The only reason we have a chance of missing Neverland is because we don't complete Atlantica. If you do Halloween Town and Atlantica, then Hook Ship will always show up.
I guess the devs kind of wanted you to do both. Okay, so we're coming up to the spot here. Just past this red ring. Right here.
Yeah!
We got it. Nice. That was all skill.
That was all skill.
RNG manipulation. Alright, so this world sucks. It's got 2 bosses in it and they're just really difficult. They like to just jump around. For one of them, the arena's really small, so it makes air combos really hard. But we'll see how we go. Now, I do want to keep Peter Pan out of the party just for the moment, because I need to do a Trinity to progress the world. Just a little quick clip up there, saves us climbing the ladder.
すると何か どうしたテンク
The upcoming boss is probably the hardest boss to learn how to fight properly for KH1, just because of how erratic his movements are and like how precise being able to hit him is.
And like I said, small arena, so it makes it really difficult to do air combos. Wait. Yeah. So I'm just customizing the stop ability so I can get that out faster.
止まれたえたたえどうだたえ
So that just blew through his first phase real quick. He likes to go underground a lot. He has similar properties to Shadows. It's actually really hard to stagger him before he goes underground. It's much like Jafar earlier. It's like a really low number of frames. Alright, I'm gonna try and get a quick fade out here. Didn't get it. So if you run to the door, you can get a much quicker cutscene skip there. I don't know why, but for some reason the game just loads it faster. Menu.
Mind if we throw a plug-in or two? For those of you who are just tuning in, we're Oz Speedruns, a group doing speedruns events to raise money for charity. For this event, we're raising money for Child's Play, a charity dedicated to improving the lives of children in hospitals through the power of play. To donate, you can either go to donate.ozspeedruns.com, or for those of you lovely people in the audience, we do have a donation tin at the desk here.
Alrighty, so that's probably the longest menu in the game. I did a lot of stuff there. Paladin, if you know what I just did, you can probably explain it, but that's a lot.
He basically equipped a lot of stuff to make himself more magic focused. That's the quick explanation.
Yeah. Oh, and I took off a certain amount of abilities that will hinder me in future fights. And I equipped the Air Combo Plus on Sora. That's probably the big one. So this is Simba. He likes to kill things. That's one wave.
Simba's an actual beast.
That's 2 waves. And the only thing he can't kill is this ship because it has way too much health. Don't go out there. Okay. So now we've got Captain Hook. I mentioned stop earlier. I'm gonna see if I can do this trap properly. I think I did one too many stops.
Yeah, you're done.
Oh no, he's not dead. Stop. There we go. So yeah, you can basically keep him stopped the entire fight. It was actually really good.
Yeah.
I think that did way better than my PB.
I thought you already did 7 before, so I was kind of confused why I didn't die. But I could have miscounted.
I thought I did 9.
I guess we can't count.
I'm bad at math. I play video games, not math. Alright, so we get some really cool rewards from beating this world. We get the Fairy Harp, which is a really strong Keyblade, has really high strength and gives us an extra MP. It's really short though. We also get the ability Ars Arcanum, which you'll be seeing later does so much damage on later bosses. Oh, we also get Tinkerbell, but we never use her. So here's something you guys will appreciate. Here's a gummy piece that makes us go very fast. Glide. Ars and guard. Where's Goofy? There's Goofy. No, we want that on. Alright. So just putting on those abilities that I mentioned we got. And as well as Goofy's Tornado ability. We don't want to see that menu. So before we unlock the next world, we have unfinished business at Travis Town. So normally when you come back from Deep Jungle, there's a second boss here. But you don't have to do it then. You can just leave it till later until we're overpowered. Makes dealing with it a lot easier. And it just sort of works really well into the routing of actually getting our summons. Like I just got Dumbo just then. As well as progressing the story, because after we beat Neverland we have to come back here anyway, so Sid can... Oh wait, I can glide here. I forgot I can just glide there. Don't hit me, air soldier. Okay, he missed. Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Sorry, he hit you with the ground.
That was rude. So I want to spawn these enemies here so that I don't spawn other enemies up here. Alright. Alright. So once again, we just need a blue menu there, so that's why I spawned the early enemies so that I don't spawn enemies just below where I am now. Means the only enemies I actually have to clear out are those Requiems on the top. Oh, hello.
Nice.
So to beat this phase of the fight, you just need to break one limb, and the quickest is the arm. But now we verse opposite armor.
Nice. We got the good pattern.
So this guy has lots of different patterns he can do, featuring breaking apart his limbs, which you can't actually kill those limbs if he has them separated from his body and head. So that fight was actually really good. If you get the double guard pattern, you can just clear through the arms, because once he's stunned, he takes extra damage. And yeah, you just breeze through the fight. Otherwise, it's a very annoying fight usually.
Also, weird little up glide trick there. Somehow you can just glide up on ledges for some reason.
I love the little movement techniques in this game.
Yeah, it's the best.
So we've got some story happening. I've lost track of it by now. I don't know if you guys are paying attention. Sora's shocked at something. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to quickly fix up my gummy. And then we'll move on to the next mission and world. Let's not get stuck in the gummy menu this time.
Let's actually save the blueprint this time.
Okay, we did it. So next world's probably one of the coolest, probably the coolest world in the game, Hollow Bastion. I'd say it's the most iconic world of this game. Really difficult world, really beautiful world. Like if you're ever just playing this game casually, go into like the elevators in the middle and just like look up. Just go into first person, look up. It's honestly such a beautiful world.
To those of you just tuning in or thinking of donating, we do also have some donation incentives coming up. Specifically if you're in tomorrow, rather. We have the Japanese versus English voices for Octopath Traveler. Japanese is sadly falling behind, so look, if you want to watch an anime tomorrow morning, by all means get those donos in. And we also have the true final boss for Sonic Mania Plus, which still needs $50 to meet that incentive. So if anyone wants to donate in for any of those, get those donos in soon because they'll be closing.
How's the Kingdom Hearts donation incentive going? Because we're just coming up to that section soon.
I forgot about that. I thought that was being closed at the start of the run. So if any of you haven't seen it, we do have the Glitch Sewer cutscene for Kingdom Hearts, which is $15. We need another $35 for that one. So if any of you haven't seen it, please donate. It is an absolute ripper of a cutscene, so get it while you can.
So $35 away, guys. If you want to see it, trust me, it's hilarious. Yeah, it's really close. And it's for a great cause. Alright, so we start with some movement here.
Alright, fun fact, because apparently not a lot of people know this, you can freeze those bubbles with Blizzard and use them as platforms. Every time it happens on stream, someone goes, I didn't know you could do that, so there you go.
So Riku steals our Keyblade here, and we get paired up with Beast. At this point, we've got to rely on just our magic and Beast to kill things. Luckily, we don't have to fight too much. There's only one compulsory enemy. So you might have noticed I was just fiddling around with my menu there. I was setting up some things later, because when you set a magic or a summon in the menu, the game actually remembers. So later on, you'll see that happen. Quick little puzzle section to unlock the main door. Not a very difficult puzzle, you sort of just follow the way.
Follow the signs. Beast is just cannot get over that little hump.
He doesn't know how to jump. Hey, you learned how to jump. Oh, that's the wrong magic.
That kind of works.
So this is why we don't want things stopped when they're not meant to be. Alright, I might just fix that customize real quick. There we go. We want gravity on. So the way gravity works is it does a percentage of the enemy's max health or current health.
Current HP, yep.
So for those defenders, they have a massive HP. So we just hit them with the gravity, let Beast do his thing. Beast actually does a lot of damage. There you go, you can freeze the
There you
bubbles.
go.
Mind if I intrude? We've got some good news. We have a $51.80. God, if I could English. $51 donation from Hyper T-Dog. And with that, we're going to be meeting the incentive for the glitch cutscene.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm really keen to show it to you guys. So I'm just despawning these enemies here. Set up my stop again. Alrighty, so this fight's usually pretty annoying. It's Riku. So Riku likes to just do his own thing. He breaks out after a certain amount of hits. Means it makes it very hard to combo him or keep him staggered. You sort of just have to hope Goofy deflects him all the time and keeps him stunned that way. We're also going to try and put him against the wall. Yeah, he does that.
Alright. That was pretty good. Also, if you guys watched that cutscene before the fight, Goofy travels abnormally fast to get back to Sora in the space of time to there. So if you ever just want to see it, it's just crazy.
Alright, so a few more puzzles here. It's one of the cool things about this game compared to some of the other Kingdom Hearts games. They really dropped the puzzle element in the future games, which I think is a little bit of a shame. It always makes this game sort of a nice gem for me to come back to. Although this isn't a hard puzzle. The book puzzle is mostly just to get extra items that we don't need. So there's a part of this puzzle where you have to use thunder on a little tablet to get these platforms in the middle to come down. We don't have thunder, and to be honest, we don't need it. I don't know why they added this part to the puzzle, because we're just going to glide over there. We can just do this.
The slag slide.
I'm just gonna
Nice.
just Tony Hawk down that rail. Dude, Sora should have been in Disney skateboarding. I'm just saying.
Sora's a big fan of Tony Hawk.
Alright, so now we've got some more platforming coming up through here. I've got to go out of my way to get an item. It saves about 4 or 5 seconds to get this item, but really it just saves our sanity because it's a gummy item to make our ship go faster. Just going to try and lock those wyverns onto Goofy so that I can come over here, call my party members over, and hopefully those enemies have despawned. There we go.
Nice.
So that's the Haste 2 gummy. It's going to give us a big boost. And just avoiding the spawn boxes. Done. It's really dangerous to fight any of these enemies near the ledges here because there's always the risk of falling off, and a lot of them are flying enemies, so they can just go off map and stay off map. So if you spawn them and trying to kill them is just really bad. Now what I'm hoping here is that my party members can kill one of these enemies coming up for me. I really don't want Donald to cast stop on it. This is one of the biggest points where Donald can just mess you up by casting stop. Okay, they killed it. Nice. Because stop, like other magic, scales off your max MP, casting stop with the level of MP we have on an enemy with such a low resistance to stop means it just sits there for a very long time, not dying. We can't progress, we just have to wait. So I haven't really done much with like items. I've used an ether here or there through the run, but here is when I'm really starting to accumulate items. I'm picking up elixirs and mega elixirs and cottages. That's because in the later game, those we pretty much want to just fill up on those for like the final bosses and really spam things like fire, R's. Alright, so this is Dumbo. So normally you have to go all the way around, do this big puzzle. I don't think this was intended. Okay, we just skipped half of the world. And now we're at the Maleficent boss fight. I always consider the boss fights in this world probably the most fun in the game. I really enjoy this world's bosses.
I'd probably disagree on Proud.
Proud's hard. That's why I don't do it. So I don't want to do any finishes on Maleficent here, because if I do a finisher, she sort of runs away. It's alright. We got it. Got her.
Nice.
So normally she'll teleport to the other end of the map, she'll go invincible, the platform will be too high for you to get on, she'll spawn loads of enemies, so the fact that we can just knock her out like that, really helpful.
The next fight is probably my favorite strat in this run.
I'm a big fan of this strat. So do you remember Hook? This is funnier than that. It should be noted, this boss does insane damage to you. We're past the point where those defense ups actually help. Where's her head?
That was a really awkward start.
Okay.
Nice.
Safe. Now probably my favorite fight in this world, Riku 2. So as a kid, I got stuck on this guy forever. I probably dropped this game for about 6 months because I got so frustrated, and you couldn't skip cutscenes in the original, so every time you had to watch the cutscene over and over again. It's probably why it's probably one of the most famous cutscenes in this game.
Yep.
Because we had to watch it so much.
Everyone went through the same pain, listening to the same cutscene until they finally triumphantly beat Riku 2.
Alright, so this move's really annoying. He goes invincible. Can't do anything. We're aiming to sort of get him into a loop.
Nice.
There we go. That's awesome. That was a good fight.
Yep.
You can dodge him doing that invincibility move if you keep him in the loop, because the way he works is after every 4th hit he'll retaliate, and our finisher has such a long hitbox that we will parry his retaliation every time, and then we can just go into another combo.
You also need a Keyblade that's strong enough to parry with that move. So if you use something that isn't Fairy Harp, you won't parry him and you'll get hit out of your finisher.
Alright, we're a little shadow. I guess the other thing to note about Riku is he's another one of those enemies who their hitbox is really close to the ground, so doing air combos on him is really difficult. You have to be able to attack out of your jump really quickly, and also time your attack to make sure that your second hit of the combo doesn't go over his head, or you don't hit the ground and interrupt your combo. There's a lot of enemies like that in this game, and it's probably one of the hardest aspects of speedrunning this game is nailing those air combos. Sora has some whack physics.
Bonkless. No.
Alright, so that cutscene's coming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a save file beforehand. That way, because it is a little finicky, if I do mess it up, I'll finish the game and then I'll reload the save file at the end and quickly do it, because it doesn't take long to actually get back to do the cutscene again. I was saying before, I really love like the movement tech throughout this game to save time. There's a little strat I like doing here. I like to shout out to my mate Saiyans, really good at the game. He figured out that you can just jump through that and it saves a second.
We have a $14.80 donation from Draco's VR with the message, feeling generous. Thanks for that, man. And just a reminder as well, coming up later in the marathon, we do have a bid war for Spyro 2, choosing the color of Spyro. Black is currently in the lead by 74, with green, red, purple, and yellow at nothing, so they'll be coming up. They'll be the last one of tonight, so if you want to see any other different colors of Spyro, I don't know about you, yellow's pretty great. Get those donos in before that starts.
Okay, so there's my save files. If we don't get this straight away, we'll come back and do it at the end. Alright, I didn't get it. So we'll come back at the end of the run once we've finished and I'll show you the cutscene. It's a bit finicky. You have to dodge roll into the cutscene on a certain frame. But don't worry, we'll definitely do it.
For those of you who are just tuning in, this is ASM at PAX 2019. We're Oz Speedruns. We do speedrun events to raise money for charity. For this event, we're raising money for Child's Play, a charity dedicated to improving the lives of children in hospital through the power of play. If you'd like to donate, you can either go to donate@ozspeedruns.com, or for those of you lovely people in the audience feeling a bit generous, there is a tin at the front of the desk as well. And aside from that, we also have a few donation incentives coming up. As mentioned before, the Spyro bid war for the color of Spyro. And we also have an Octopath Traveler bid war going for tomorrow for anyone stopping by or tuning in. The Japanese versus the English voices. English is currently ahead at 74 and Japanese behind at $20. So look, if you're a simple cultured man like myself and you like your Sunday morning anime, get those donations in before the start of the run tomorrow. Thank you.
Alright, so I just put the Haste 2 gummy on our ship, so we're now moving really fast through these levels. There's an interesting thing about this level. So, a community member, it was Spike Vegeta. He was doing this gummy mission. Now, he accidentally died, like, right at the end of it. And what he found out is that if you die to towards the end. I actually want to probably say it's like 3/4 through the mission. It just thinks you finished the mission and lets you get there. They then learn that you can just
What we do here
quit
is
out.
after that screen transition, we just restart.
Yeah, so right there is the point. We just quit that and we can just warp there now. It's honestly hilarious how much in speedrunning is just found by happy accidents like that. So I want Beast in my party here, because we've got no more Trinities to do, and we just want raw damage. So we've got another Dumbo coming up here. This is probably the hardest one. We have to make sure we despawn the red Nocturnes, because they have like homing fire, and it really messes you up when you try to glide across. So as long as we only have the wizard, because in this game you can only summon when there's enemies around, but we also want them to despawn so that we can hit this. And then, perfect. We just skipped having to go through all the library and everything again. That also skips getting the Divine Rose Keyblade, which is the strongest Keyblade in this game. It's an unskippable cutscene though, so we don't want to do it. Also, with the Oathkeeper Keyblade, which I will equip right now, we already hit the strength cap.
I have a $14 donation here from Just Nezu. This run makes me want us to come back to the game, and apparently it's also possible to hit 5-hit air combo Riku too, but it's extremely difficult. Thanks for that, man.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, Goofy decided to do nothing. Alright, so ideally what we normally want to happen there is Beast to do a roar. Now he did roar, but unfortunately he didn't hit enough of the enemies. If he roars in the right spot and you get a little lucky, he just nukes the entire fight with just one ability. So we got our last Dumbo coming up here, same as the first one. I think I've done this so many times now that if I went to go back and play this casually, I probably wouldn't remember how to actually get through the tower. Alright, easy peasy. Don't get knocked off. Alright, so this is the behemoth fight. The way this guy works, you can only hit his horn. It's really hard. Like after a certain amount of hits, he will bow his horn we're going to try and take advantage of standing on some weird platforming on his head to get an Ars Arcanum out.
Nice.
Alright, there we go.
Wow.
I dodge rolled into another one. Oh, saved it. Okay. So, I equipped Goofy with an ability called MP Gift. So, okay. Normally, he should be giving me MP, but unfortunately he's out of MP himself, and Beast has seemingly used all his ethers on himself. Very rude. Alright, so that's that fight. So we've only got one more world in the run, and it's definitely the hardest. Like, all the enemies just do insane damage. There's a lot of them. They're very slippery enemies, and then we've got final bosses as well. Now right here coming up is an unskippable cutscene once I get through all this text, so we're just going to chill out for about 90 seconds. Using this cutscene as a bathroom break is doable, but not recommended.
心がつながってたらまたいつか巡り会える。あんたのことは忘れたくても忘れられないよね。
どういう意味だよ。
早く鍵穴を閉めて。そうだ。
Japanese Goofy always makes me laugh. I honestly don't know why they decided to keep this cutscene unskippable. Seems a bit weird, but we can't do anything about it. No one's found a way to like skip it or anything like that.
But you have to know that they'll always be in your hearts. Like, that's important.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. Alright, so the princesses here give us Faraga, which is the only third level magic we have, but you're going to be seeing a decent amount of it coming up. It's really powerful, especially when we've got our items set up for the magic build. Alright, final world. I'm going to try and bait these enemies down here so I don't get hit.
These ships do a lot of damage. And if you get hit by them enough times, you can actually just die.
On Proud, I believe they're one-shots.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does.
Alright, nice.
You got a new high score.
I did. Alright, so these new enemies are pretty finicky. I'll let Paladin explain them while I try and guard, apparently.
Wait, what do you want to explain?
Invisibles.
Oh, so Invisibles are the hardest enemies to fight in this game just because they're like shadows but stronger. And they have long-reaching swords and they can go... Well, okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Clean.
But essentially, they can just waste a lot of time by going underground and trying to target Sora while he's on the ground and do some weird flame move. And you can just die by having them stagger. And he clashes with your sword too, so...
Now these guys, the Angel Stars, can revive each other. Obviously wasting a lot of time. So we want to try and kill them without them doing that. They can also guard, so we don't want them to do that. So that was really good. Alright, so we've got another behemoth here. Now this one's not technically a boss, so it's actually affected by gravity.
That was really good.
It was really good. I guarantee that's the best segment.
That was probably best segment for sure.
So pretty much everything there went perfectly. Alright, so I'm going to switch back to my magic here. I want to have 9 MP bars to get the most out of Simba. So this section, if you guys didn't know, every portal represents one of the Disney worlds. Now, if we've sealed the keyhole in those worlds, we don't have to do the Heartless fight in the portal. We can just skip it. So if it's purple, we can just go around like this. Now, because there's 2 main worlds that we skipped, we are going to have to do those fights. So this is Olympus. So I'm not going to go straight to full tick-ups here, because these air soldiers will hit me. I need to do a quick 2 to stun them. Now these are big waves of enemies, so like, fighting them out normally is not ideal. But luckily Simba just does this. And that's that portal done.
Small little optimization there. Instead of releasing, Midget dismissed Simba, and that still lets Simba do Proud Roar, but he goes away a lot faster.
Yeah, because you can't actually leave that room until your party members come back. This is Atlantica. And this is where that high-level fire is going to come in. Now this magic isn't actually like buffed because we're on beginner mode. It would do this damage on any difficulty because it always just scales off your MP. Now I have to wait for that flash as well, because if I leave before that flash, I have to re-enter and do the whole fight again, which I've done many times. This is the Winnie the Pooh portal. No enemies, which is nice. Just getting elixir and some health regen. Now this room is annoying. You can actually jump back through the portal if you're unlucky enough. So you always want to try and stay locked onto an enemy to avoid that. Alright, so they both went underground. Don't jump in the portal. Oh, I really don't want to die. Okay, I nearly died. So yeah, that's what Paladin meant. Like, they can just go underground, waste a lot of time doing that move. Nice, I got Air Combo Plus early. So I'm going to equip that Air Combo Plus because it's going to make the next fight a lot quicker. So this is Chernobog. So we're flying the whole time, so we can only do air combos, which is why it's cool that Air Combo Plus comes into it. Now you'll notice I'm going to try and not do any finishes. The reason is because the air combos reset really quickly. You can actually deal more damage by just hitting him with non-finishes over and over. Because all those hits do the same damage anyway, because we've hit the damage cap. Now this is a really unlucky pattern. He's going to blast us away twice, which is going to waste a bit of time.
Oh, you got it.
I've got an ability called Leaf Bracer, which means whenever I cast Cure, I go invincible. Oh, not again. Oh, okay, that's bad. Die. Alright. So I landed on the volcano there for a very specific reason. If you don't, the game spawns you right up the top of the screen. But if you land, it puts you at the bottom of the screen, which is where you need to go. So I'm just going to do a quick menu here. I want Sora to have a Mega Elixir, and I want to equip Super Glide. So this is one of probably the scariest mob fight in the game. You have to fight a ton of enemies in this, wave after wave. I can't remember how many waves it is. Probably knowing this game, it's 13. But fighting them normally is really bad. Luckily, we have a way to deal with it. And if you haven't guessed it, it is Simba. But the problem is Simba can't deal with every wave because he doesn't last long enough. So we're gonna have to deal with a few waves on our own first. Use this Mega Elixir. Alright, so we've got 2 waves to deal with before we can Simba. Dark Balls and Invisibles. I want these guys here, so the Invisibles come and target me specifically, because I want to catch them in all these gravities. If you get really lucky, you can actually, don't want to die. You can actually do it without any of them doing this time-wasting move. Unfortunately, I didn't get lucky. I'm gonna heal Donald. Now we have to summon Simba like immediately here, otherwise the enemies will hit us before we can get a full charge out. If you guys ever fought through this as a kid, you know how bad this fight is. I'm in such a scary spot. I usually try to get in a corner far away, but I'm like right up next to them. Okay, that's it. They're done.
The fight can go wrong so quickly, and it's nothing you can do about it.
You can die so easily. Alright, quick menu. Oh, I've got that on. Oh, yeah. That's it for now. Alright, so now we're in the final boss rush. Don't forget to stick around. I've got that that cutscene glitch coming up. As soon as I finish, I'll reset. We'll get that cutscene glitch going. It's definitely worth sticking around for. So we want to try and catch this guy in a corner, because otherwise he just flies around everywhere. Right, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't
So normally when Anson puts
what
his
is he
gun in
doing?
front of me,
Okay.
of him, you can't really hit him with your keyblade, but for some reason you can just use R's and R's doesn't flash.
Alright, so this is going really bad. I don't know why he flew away so quick at the start. I might die. Just stay in that corner. So this move here, we want to dodge this, because otherwise he sort of seals his guardian on me, and it can potentially do a lot of damage, and it's really hard to deal with him when he does that. Nice, okay, we good. Alright, another quick menu here. We want Goofy. Not that. We want him to have that. And that. Sora gets items. And use our last cottage. Alright. So, our friend Darkseid is back. Doing the fight properly, you can just make sure he does nothing. You can kill him really quick with R's. That's why R's is such a ridiculous ability.
This is my most hated fight in the speedrun, just because I suck at it.
This guy's very hard. He has lots of very high damage moves. He has a particular move where he goes invincible. And of course you're fighting him solo. Now, I just need to hit him in a particular way when I get to particular health barriers. First one comes up at the end of this orange bar. 1, 2, 1. Got it. Nice. Okay. So that stagger means I avoided the first invincibility hit. The next one comes at about 3/4 of the green bar remaining. so I might just do it now. Whoa, this is rough. Okay, nice.
What?
So every time he does that invincibility move, it wastes about 20 seconds, and he can do it twice. So we just saved about 40 seconds. So now the rest of those boss fights were in the air again. So it's going to be more air combos, trying not to use finishes when we don't have to, healing through a lot of the hits. A lot of the hits he does are pretty much just unavoidable, so you just have to tank what you can and heal at the right times. I'm gonna reapply arrow. That's a defensive spell, so I take like half damage. I also just skipped a phase where he summons enemies. Where now you just shoot lasers. The enemies can parry you, they do damage to you. It's really annoying, so that was a really good fight. So I just glitched that cutscene, that's why everything's blurry now. It's just a random thing, it just skips the cutscene without you actually having to skip it. Saves about a second. So we've got 3 rooms that we need to deal with here. One has shadows, one has dark balls, one has invisibles. Pretty much all the, I guess the core Heartless, like ones that don't have the emblems. So I want to try and not get blown away here.
Nice.
That was really
That was
fast.
super clean. You want to pick up the mic? But you were gonna just ignore that.
Alright, a couple more fights left. This guy does ridiculous damage to you. You can arrow or you can heal through all the lightning strikes. I prefer to try heal. Probably a bit more dangerous though. Oh, okay. See, he can do a deceptive amount of damage. I was trying to do something funny there and I didn't. Alright, we'll just use arrow this time. That's not arrow. This is the invisible one. It's got about 12 invisibles, and they suck. So the hope is that they just come to me and get hit by all these gravities. Which they did.
Wow. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You can all clap for that one, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. I'm just hitting this to build my MP for the final fight. Now, time comes up on the final hit of this boss. I'm trying to command my party members throughout all this to attack him as well. Just try and get as much damage out as possible.
You really want Goofy to spam Tornado because that has a lot of damage and quick time.
Alright, time's coming.
And
Time. Alright. Thank you, thank you.